seconds for our editor. It's good enough. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Transform Sales Podcast. Today I'm with Jason from Pulse discussing another episode of the Sales Software Review series. Jason, how you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, Eddie.
Yeah, very excited about the conversation we're about to have. Today, we want to talk about polls for business consultants and coaches that are looking to convert more sales and increase efficiency when they run their operations with automation. Jason, what can you tell me about polls? What's the impact that it's having in these audiences by business consultants and coaches?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so Pulse has been around for since probably about 2018 is when we launched. And we've helped businesses all over the world increase efficiency, increase sales conversions by leveraging automation. If you want to compare Pulse to other software similar to a Active Campaign, Infusionsoft Keep, HubSpot, something like that. And yeah, I've been doing this for a lot of other businesses for over 15 years now. And that's what kind of got us into starting our own software.
That's fantastic. Now, you just mentioned a couple of the alternative that some people could use to run some of these, let's say, plays of using automation to increase sales efficiency. You mentioned HubSpot, a couple of other providers. So, what is the issue? If I were to ask you, what could be the challenges that a business consultant or a coach may be running into as they use those other tools that you guys fix for them with polls?
Yeah, it depends on the size of their business. So some businesses, if they're just getting started, are not using any software at all, right? They're using like spreadsheets to manage their stuff, which, just it works just to get started, but it's hard to leverage automation and keep everything centralized with your communication notes and everything using the spreadsheet. So that's like an upgrade from that solution. But then you have like larger businesses, for example, that might have been using HubSpot. We had a person come over just a couple of weeks ago. They're saving a couple $1,000s a month by migrating from HubSpot to us, because when you get started with HubSpot, you can get started for free, but it quickly escalates in price as you start. They nickel and dime you with every single module. So
every module is an add-on,
automations or the service hub so all that stuff escalates in price, and before you know it, you're paying a couple $1,000s a month. So we were able to save them about 90% in savings by moving over to Pulse and still be able to leverage all the same features. So HubSpot's a beast, but a lot of this stuff is just overkill for what businesses need. So with Pulse, we do not charge by module. So everything's included. You can get started as low as $49 and you get all the modules and everything included. And we kind of charge based on the number of contacts and users you have in the system. We feel like as you grow as a company, then, the price kind of grows with you, but still at a very affordable price. So.
Fantastic. So either you're coming from a situation where pen and paper is no longer scalable, or you're coming from a situation in which, as you said, they probably acquired a tech stack or a tool like HubSpot that quickly grew in price just because, as you said, every module you have to pay for the sales license, you have to pay for the marketing seats, you have to pay for everything. So it can quickly increase your bills. Even if you want to just run a small operation, maybe you're a consultant, you have a 10 people team, something like that, it becomes overkill, as you said. So they may be either looking to optimize from pen and paper, brick and mortar style, or looking to reduce costs. They may have a good solution like HubSpot. It's not good. It's good. Don't get me wrong, as you said it, but it may be overkill and you're overpaying. Hey, come to something that is better suited for your specific use case, and that's not going to scale exponentially in price the more you use it. And like maybe a little bit more linear scale in the price, right?
Yeah, and there's kind of a step in between there too, right? So like maybe a person upgrades to like a MailChimp. They're using spreadsheets. They still use spreadsheets to kind of manage their sales process, but use like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact to send out newsletters and emails. But Pulse is kind of an upgrade from that, because you can leverage your CRM system and still all the email automation that MailChimp has, but much more advanced because you're tying the data in from your CRM system, so you can leverage like segmentation and stuff much better for marketing automation. So yeah,
So
or
it
we
may
see,
it may
as I said,
so
we
for
see
example,
see companies using like Infusionsoft or Keep as well, and they get just frustrated because it's too complex for their needs, or they're frustrated because they just don't understand it, or it's a clunky user interface. So they migrate over to a system like ours.
I like that because in this situation, it's not just the overkill, overpaying scenario, but it's also like, yeah, maybe I have some sort of automation, but I'm not able to do full funnel, full sales cycle, all my activities automated, just a portion of them. As you said, maybe just GMAS or MailChimp, and I'm just doing email, but nothing else. No other activities or sequences are automated. So how about I get everything without overpaying for all the bells and whistles that the big providers have? I like that. So why don't we jump on a quick screen share where you can walk us through what are the features that, as you said, hey, it's easy to get set up. You have automation on multiple fronts. When it comes to your business coach, the business consultants, and the coaches that you have worked with, if you could share with us what are the key features that they really just love the most and cannot live without, I think that would be fantastic for the episode.
Yeah, sounds good. So most business coaches and consultants, actually, I've never encountered one that's not using like some sort of sales pipeline, right? So that's probably where most of our businesses live.
Hmm.
Reporting is a key feature. Most smaller business consultants and coaches, even though they preach this, aren't using it in their own business and having like real-time reporting. Now they might be using spreadsheets for their reporting, but having a system where it updates in real time is really important. So I would say that's a really key fundamental. And then the sales pipelines, like I said, this is probably one of the areas that is most widely used by our business coaches and business consultant audience. And this just funnels in all of your leads into, a sales pipeline to where it allows you to manage those leads and walk them through the sales pipeline and trigger automations along the way. So, for example, to get a person into your CRM, you can connect that to your website. You can connect that to, if you're running Facebook ads, Google ads, you can bring them in that way. Um, there's a number of ways that you can bring contacts in automatically into your system, and then that just automatically creates a contact into your CRM, but then automatically creates an opportunity within your sales pipeline. Um, so, for example, maybe it's somebody that needs to be contacted, so that can automatically put them in here in an automation to invite them to schedule a discovery call. So that's like leveraging automation of bringing the person into your sales pipeline and into your CRM, and then triggering automation to invite them to schedule a discovery call. And then once that
Hmm.
call is scheduled, it just automatically stops that email series, drops them into the scheduled series, and ready to go. But the process that we see it, a lot of businesses, and this isn't just for business coaches and business consultants, this is for almost any business that I've worked with that leverages the sales pipeline. They don't have processes in place for when a person cancels or no show. So
Hmm.
if they're a one person business, they're trying to reach out to reschedule, and usually you reach out one time and then you're busy with other things and just forget, so there's no
Right.
consistency behind it. Bigger companies with sales teams, same thing for those sales teams, right? They do the exact same thing. They're going to be focused on the new leads coming in and not focused on trying to reach out and reschedule that meeting. So it's really
The
important to have
follow-ups.
automation in place for that.
Yep.
And that's where, like, so if it's canceled, boom, we put them in a canceled reschedule series that can consist of emails and text messages. And then that reminds them over the course of a couple of weeks to, reschedule their meeting. If they don't reschedule, send them to a long-term nurture campaign that then could try to bring them back in here. If they do reschedule, boom, it stops that, puts them back into the schedule, So that's like some of the things that are really important and fundamental to putting in place to streamline your business, which also help increase sales conversions.
Love it. There's two questions. A brief one. When I use HubSpot, one of the things that I like is that there's an extension because, as you were saying before, leads may come from multiple sources. So the ones that I upload, fine, those are taken care of. But sometimes I get an email or I'm interacting with someone over email. There's an extension from HubSpot to bring those contacts over to the CRM. How would that work with polls? Let's say I'm exchanging with someone that's not yet in the CRM.
Yeah, yep, for sure. So we have what we call a lead creation via email tool in the system that you can extract leads from emails and so forth. And we can also bring people in like via integrations via Zapier or like meeting booking software, things of that nature too. So if they schedule a meeting with you, they can be brought into. So there's various different ways, just depends on your situation.
I like it. Now, the second question that arose as you were giving me this demo is that oftentimes a lot of these automations have to be mapped out, right? Like the to be contacted maybe one sequence, but once we're on a discovery call, as you said, once a candidate or a lead changes a stage, the system automatically pauses the previous automation so we don't bother them, right? Trying to book a meeting that we already booked, and maybe a new sequence kicks off. So my question to you, Jason, is how much time should a business consultant or a coach invest in setting up these workflows that I guess if you don't set automation right, it's going to work against you, right? So you do have to invest the time in setting it up. But how easy is it to set it up with polls? How time consuming is this part of the task?
Yeah, so what we really advise like almost everybody to do is work with our team to help you set it up. Like, well, you
Mhm.
could set it up yourself, just like you can do in other tools. I think that's what really separates us away from a HubSpot, Active Campaign, a Keep, any of these other software platforms. Is we really take a user to user basis to help you really understand your business and then suggest the processes and help you get the things set up, because that foundation is really essential for having a solid foundation to run your business. So most people, even if they're tech savvy, just don't have a solid understanding of how to set this stuff up. So like a HubSpot or something like that, or Active Campaign, they'll give you like a templated approach. So they take that
Correct.
templated approach and then just like rework it to work for their system or their business. But a lot of times that templated approach is not a one size fits all solution, right? So
Right.
you need to be, that's where things kind of like break apart, and it needs to be adapted to your specific business process. So if you're going to set something like this up yourself, it just really depends on the time and how like savvy you are. You know, you could probably get it set up in a 2 to 3 weeks to have like at least the foundation of getting your data imported and getting your fundamental automation set up. I mean, if you really had nothing going on in your business, you can get it set up in a day or two. But like realistically, a lot of other business, you know, you have other tasks and everything going on, and you got to try to find time to fit it into your schedule. So if you're having
It
us
may
do it, but about a week to 2 weeks, we can have the foundation set up for you.
That makes sense. That was going to be my next question because yeah, you may have even if you're using pen and paper spreadsheets in GMAS or Mailchimp, you have a process, even if it's in your head. That it's just the time that it will take you to map it out in polls. And as I said, that was going to be my next question: what are the tasks, deliverables, or people involved in setting up the software? But you're saying typically for business consultants and coaches, it would be themselves, your team, and in about 2 to 3 weeks, everything should be set up in polls. Does that mean that they would require any additional fees to work this out with your team, like maybe some implementation costs at the beginning?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, like I said, and again, we have a DIY approach where you can set it up yourself, but statistically, we've just seen the DIY, you know, those are the people that just don't use their system as
Hmm.
frequently because everything was just not set up properly to begin with, right? And this just
Yeah,
isn't false, is statistically with any CRM software. Um,
everywhere. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, if you're having us do it, the fees range anywhere from 500 to 2000 plus. I would say for like a smaller business, probably anywhere from like 500 to $1,500 is about average. So if you just
Awesome.
want general processes set up, we can do it for around $500. That gets you some basic, like, cancel, no show, scheduled automations, like invite to schedule a meeting, like I was talking to you about, like bringing in your leads automatically from your website or whatever channels that you're doing, getting like Calendly connected for your meeting booking software and stuff like that. Just like general, like basic processes that are the fundamentals of like managing things. We can get that set up for around like $500, and we can usually get it set up in a week to 2 weeks time.
That's amazing, and it's very important because a lot of times um, people just compare the license fee per license fee and not the, let's say, the hour of consultants or the implementation costs versus implementation costs. And that's where a lot of people get surprised when they bring on board, let's say, a CRM. A lot of people buy Salesforce and they think, all right, it's just going to be these licenses, or HubSpot, these licenses. Fine, I can afford that. They buy it. Wait, now we have to implement it. And they realize 2, 3 months of fees paying professionals and consultants that, if it's Salesforce and HubSpot, they may recommend their own, but the fees are going to be way, way higher than what you just mentioned for us. So that makes it a little bit more versatile and flexible to meet business consultants and coaches where their budget is, but still get things done.
Yeah,
Um,
Salesforce, I mean, it's a it's a beast, right? It's a
it's a
huge
mammoth.
system, but if you're a smaller business, Salesforce is completely overkill for your needs.
Hmm.
It's more geared for enterprise businesses. Yes, it's super flexible and customizable, but even, I mean, we have like a Fortune 5000 company that's coming over from Salesforce that um, they're using Salesforce and Active Campaign, and that's a lot of times what happens is because you need a Salesforce developer to develop automations in there, right? It's just so complex that normal people just can't even understand what the heck to do inside of
Yes.
Salesforce. Like this Fortune 5000 company, for example, they're using 3 different softwares, Salesforce, Active Campaign, and another software for text message marketing. And
Wow.
they're able to consolidate everything and move to Pulse and save a huge amount of money. They're paying like $800 a month per enterprise user license, and they're still getting capped on the amount of automations they could run through Salesforce. So, yeah.
I like that. And as you said, it can be overkill as the largest CRM, but there's so many bells and whistles that sometimes you even get paralysis by analysis because you don't know what features you should be using for yourself. And it seems like with Pulse, they get this sweet spot of these are the features, ease of implementation, good, affordable solution, so that you can really get the value of, as you said it from the beginning, the automation, increasing your sales, converting more, without breaking the bank and without having to wait a lifetime to set it up correctly. I like that. Lastly, Jason, just to wrap up the episode, what would you say are the KPIs that your ideal customer should use to evaluate the success of having Pulse in their company? And what outcomes should they be expecting once they run it, let's say, over that 2 to 3 weeks implementation period?
Yeah, for sure. So uh, I always suggest like benchmarking where you're currently at in your business. Some businesses have that data, some people have no clue, right? But that comes down to the reporting side of things. And you should understand what your average sales conversion rate is. You should be bringing in like, um, let me bring up the dashboard real quick. So just some general stuff like
Mhm.
what's your conversion rate per marketing channel? Like where you're at right now and how that's going to increase once you get your systems and automations in place. So I guarantee you, if you don't have like automations in place for like the cancel and no show meetings and invite to schedule meetings and stuff like that, as long as you have a steady stream of leads coming into your system, your sales conversion rates are definitely going to increase. I mean, we've seen it increase with a larger company we work with. They have 250 plus employees. We're able to increase their sales conversion rates by 750% just by
Wow.
implementing those processes. And I've never seen a company that I've ever started working with that's ever had like those processes nailed. So that's a good one to benchmark, and KPIs to look at your sales conversion rates, how that increases, and look at it per marketing channel as well.
That makes sense. It's like if you don't have visibility, well, first thing is you're going to have it finally. And if you have some visibility that is your baseline, then the numbers should just improve from a conversion standpoint. And I'm also assuming from a velocity standpoint, because when I automate these follow-ups and these touches that manually I may forget to execute, but the system helps me with, then that keeps my prospects fresh. That keeps the next step in the pipeline a little bit, let's say, it keeps it top of mind for your lead, for your prospect, so they don't waste time like, I don't know what to do next, let's wait, have a call in 2 weeks. No, I know what I need to do, and that helps move the deals forward, and that should be an impact that they also see in their pipeline.
Efficiency is key, right? I mean, efficiency is a hard one to kind of measure based on how much time you're saving per employee. But, we've seen companies save up to like 2 hours per day per employee. If you're saving 2 hours a day for your salesperson, think they're going to be able to focus more time on following up with qualified leads versus, not knowing who to follow up with or digging through your email inbox trying to find info on something. So yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And it seems to be particularly important, as you said, with business consultants and coaches that tend to have a small team, very close group, but they want to spend most of their time interacting with buyers, giving their coaching sessions, delivering the value rather than, hey, who do I need to call, or scratching their head, what do I need to do next? And those are the things that Pulse can help them with. Well, Jason, thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything else you would like to share with the audience before we part?
No, I think I've covered everything. If you want to learn more about Pulse, please feel free to reach out, and love to help your business.
That's fantastic. Jason, thank you so much for your time. If you want to learn more about Pulse, as Jason said, you can definitely look for them in the CloudTask marketplace. We would be happy to set up an introduction so you can see how you can increase your efficiency, how you can reduce your costs, and ultimately get more sales. Jason, thank you again so much for your time, and I hope to catch you on the next episode.
Yeah. Take care, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Let me go